some associates gather on the stand. This trial's a circus, but I've got a plan. Not a grifter, still worse than Dan. Hopscotch squares, don't trip, don't fall. BK in a felony, I've heard it all. Shake it, magic 8-ball. Tell me the truth, will justice call? Me be the diva, she's running the show. Two Capone and Meg, yeah, everybody knows. Fat, we're fat, well, nobody knows. What the corn echoes as the chaos grows. My credibility left in a vehicle. Hopscotch squares, don't trip, don't fall. BK in a felony, I've heard it all. Shake it, magic 8-ball. Tell me the truth, will justice call? What the corn echoes as the chaos grows. My credibility left in a vehicle.
Hello everyone, happy Monday. Hope you all had a great weekend. Hope the Easter Bunny was kind to all of you. Or maybe not kind, whatever you want. I had a good weekend. Spent it with Miss Madison and my son and my husband. Didn't see my daughter-in-law so much. It is Bad Dazzer's birthday. Happy birthday, Bad Dazzer. I hope you've had a great day. Done something fun. What's up, Heidel? Flash fan. I hope you find some chocolate. Maybe the Easter Bunny brought you some. I don't know. Hello, Bad Dazzer. Hello, Katie. Good to see you. Oh, you're stuck in traffic, Flashman? My sympathies. What's up, Bree? What's up, Snipe? And whoever. I almost say y'all when I read your hi y'all instead of whoever. I don't know why. What's up, Ash? Oh my goodness. Okay, so we are going to you're welcome. I made something I made something special for you, Bad Desert. When I put the court feed on, I'll put it up there. So, oh, you're fine, Flashman. No worries. No worries at all. Okay, so we are going to continue on with Iowa versus Dixie Shanahan. This is a case from 2000, or trial from 2004. The incident happened in 2002 when Dixie Shanahan, can I say capped her husband, Scott, in the back of the head. What's up, Carmen? Hey, Shenny. She's claiming self-defense because Scott had been pretty abusive to her, according to Dixie, over the years, even though the state likes to point out she only reported it 3 times over the couple of decades they were together. And those times she wanted to dismiss the charges. One time she did not come back from Texas, where she had fled to stay with her family, and so they had to dismiss the charges. It doesn't make it so it didn't happen. She did have visible injuries on her. It was a well-known thing around the town of Defiance, Iowa, which was only about a population of 350, that Scott wasn't a good guy. That Scott and Dixie had a volatile relationship. It wasn't a secret. In fact, when after Dixie took Scott out, he was laying in bed, or she put him in bed. I don't know. Those have been unclear details here so far. She shut the door and left him there for over a year. And nobody cared. Nobody in that town liked him. He only had 4 people attend his funeral. His family refused to pay for his funeral. Whatever family members those were I don't know because his parents were both deceased at the time. He had beat his mom because, I don't know. She went to her brother's funeral and got pneumonia, so that was her fault. So he beat her. She'd had triple bypass. Was not in good health. So he would beat her, beat Dixie. Just not a good guy. Nobody missed him. Nobody cared. I think, honestly, had Dixie just been able to dispose of Scott's remains, nobody would have ever cared. Not saying she should have done that. Just saying that she could have done that. What's up, Bobby? Don't be grumpy. What's up, Gabby? So we have heard from several deputies. We've heard, yes, Shenny, you are correct. He was a real winner. Real winner. Yes, Carmen, you've had some typos today. We've heard almost all of the state's witnesses. We have heard from Dixie's new husband that she married a few weeks before her trial started. He had been in the home and did not have any idea that there was a body in the back bedroom. So it has just been kind of weird that nobody has said anything about there being an odor. She left the window open in the winter, which did catch somebody's attention, but even they didn't say they smelled, death coming out of the room. All she had was a towel wrapped up and shoved underneath the door with a couple little air fresheners. And we're not talking like she just had the hallway lined with air fresheners. There's a couple little air fresheners and a candle, and that was it. So I don't know how she did away with the smell. I don't understand it. But nobody smelled anything. What's up, Deidre? Heyo. Heyo, lady, your house stank. Yes. She got married a few weeks before the trial started. Yes. So after the cops found him. Yes. Yes. So she took him out in August of 2002. They did not find him until October 20th of 2003. And then they arrested her shortly thereafter. So somebody, I don't know who, somebody in July of 2003 said, we haven't seen Scott. That person apparently cared and said, you better check into this. And that's when the police started checking into things and started asking questions. And that's when the dominoes started to fall. I don't know what she was going to do with him. She's remarried. Had she not gotten caught, I have no idea what she was going to do with that man. He was, decomposing. He was partially mummified. He was partially skeletonized. I don't know. I don't know. But that's where the details of how he got in bed and in the position that he was in. He was on his side. He had a pillow between his legs. He had a pillow tucked under his left arm, like he was sleeping. So the violence would have been over at that point for that day. He had already told her the day's not over and he was going to kill her. Her defense is self-defense. She went into the room to use the telephone because it was the only working telephone left in the house. He had taken all the other ones out of the wall. Although, if you think about it, she was in the living room when that happened and she was by the front door. She could have just walked out instead of going back to the bedroom to call the police, which those are her claims is what she was doing. Her claims are she went to the back bedroom to call the police. He moved towards the, I don't know my firearms. I apologize. The rifle or the shotgun. I'm not sure what it was, if there's a difference. And she got it and then she fired it. I don't know how he got turned around in that period of time to get it in the back of the head. So, the thing that goes bang. So, oh, I know, and I don't mean that she could have just left. I mean, she had an escape that at that moment in time, that she didn't have to go call the police. She could have left. Their kids were not there. They were at school. Her son was at school. She'd already gotten her daughter out of the house. He had pulled her back in the house that morning. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, well, she should have just left. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that there was a sure way to walk out of there. But it didn't matter. I don't know that the police were trying, kinda. I think it's very common for people to drop the charges. We heard that from the court clerk. She had a ton of files where the victim had come back and had asked for the charges to be dismissed. So he molted and took on the form of an earthworm. He took on the form of something. I don't know what it was. So anyway, we are nearing the end of the state's presentation. So we have today and tomorrow for the state's witnesses. And then we are going, on Thursday, we will get into Dixie's testimony. We will start the defense case, and Dixie is witness number 1 for them. I am looking forward to hearing her testimony and seeing what she has for us. So, see you later, Carmen. Hello, Ronnie. So today we have Sheriff Gene Kavanaugh. He is the one that started talking to Dixie, getting her conversations with him was kind of getting his wheels spinning there, and he is the one that ended up getting the warrant. Then we have Kathy Myers. Hey, Robin. She is the neighbor and friend of Dixie, and Dixie was at Kathy's house when they executed the warrant. And then we have Special Agent David Jobs. He is from the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation. I was like, aren't we? When they experience that kind of DV, especially after being pulled back in rational thought, though, there isn't always a clear escape. And you guys don't get me wrong. I'm not criticizing her at all. I'm just looking at the path of least resistance to not have to go in where he is. And that was her, if she's going to stay in the house and call the police, that was, according to her, her only option. So, that's all I'm not saying she did right, did wrong, did anything. So, hi to everyone. I can't see because of glare. Yeah, you should be watching where you're going, Heidel. You're walking. So we're going to start off with Sheriff Gene Kavanaugh. I'm interested to see what he has to say here. All right, let's go, shall we?
Would you state your name and occupation for the jury, please?
My name is Gene Kavanaugh, Shelby County Sheriff.
How long have you been the sheriff here in Shelby County?
19 years.
Before becoming sheriff, did you work in law enforcement?
Yes, I did.
And in what capacity?
Deputy Sheriff, Shelby County.
How long were you a deputy sheriff here?
13 years.
Sheriff Kavanaugh, in the course of your duties as the Shelby County Sheriff, did you receive a missing persons report regarding Scott Shanahan?
Yes, sir, I did.
Could you tell us the date that you would have received that report?
July 21st of 2003.
And could you give us just a basic idea of what the report was?
Yes, sir. I had a call from a concerned citizen that thought maybe we should look into the whereabouts of Scott Shanahan. He hadn't been seen for probably a year. And this person that called indicated to me that this just wasn't like Scott to just up and leave everything.
Were you acquainted with Scott Shanahan?
Yes, sir, I was.
I think your department had 3 times when he'd been arrested.
That's correct.
And were you acquainted with his wife, Dixie Shanahan?
Yes, sir, I am.
Is she in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir, she is.
Could you point her out for us, please?
She's sitting between Mr. Fagan and Mr. Stensland.
Thank you. Your Honor, let the record show the witnesses identified the defendant. Once you received this report, what was your first step?
I actually called the chief deputy at Cass County because we had heard that Scott was possibly in Atlantic, Iowa. I called Bill Sage and asked him to do some checking in Atlantic, see if Scott was in the Atlantic area. Bill was unable to find anything about Scott in Atlantic.
And was that the same day?
Yes, sir, it was.
Bill Sage, he's the sheriff of...
He's the chief deputy of Cass County.
Cass County. Now, did he report back to you that same day, or did you hear back from...
I think it was probably a day or two later.
What was your next step in pursuing this missing persons report on Scott Shanahan?
I sent Deputy John Kelly to Defiance to talk to Dixie about Scott.
Do you recall what date that was that you sent Deputy Kelly up there?
July 22nd of 2003.
And did he, as far as you know, he did speak with the defendant, Dixie Shanahan?
Yes, sir, he did.
Did he report back to you what he'd learned from his visit with her?
Yes, he did.
What was the next event that occurred in this investigation, as far as you can recall?
After Deputy Kelly came back and reported to me as to what Dixie had told him, I believe the next day was July 23rd. Dixie came to the sheriff's office to talk to me.
The defendant came to the sheriff's office?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall, could you describe the circumstances of this to the jury?
I believe I was either coming or going from the office at the time. She pulled up in front of the sheriff's office, was out of her car. I think Deputy Kelly was there also. And Dixie was concerned about possibly she was being accused of something at this time.
You recall her words as close as possible to what she said to you?
I think she said something of the nature as to, am I being accused of something?
And what was your response to that?
My response was that no, she wasn't. At this time, we're just looking into the welfare of Scott Shanahan.
Anything else said by the defendant or you at this time?
That was basically the conversation that we had at that time.
Did she mention anyone that she claimed to have seen Scott Shanahan recently?
Dixie did tell me that I should talk to an individual by the name of Richard Straw.
And did she suggest to you why you'd want to talk with Mr. Straw?
She indicated to me that Richard Straw had supposedly seen Scott Shanahan in Harlan at McDonald's restaurant, probably the latter part of April of 2003.
And this is what she mentioned to you while you were visiting with her on the street when she'd come to see you that day, July 23rd?
Yes, sir, I believe so.
And did you visit with Mr. Straw?
Yes, I did.
Was he interviewed more than once regarding this?
I talked to him once, and I believe the DCI agent, Dave Jobs, had talked to Mr. Straw also.
What was the next thing or the next event that occurred in this investigation?
I believe probably the 25th of July, I believe it was, I entered Scott Shanahan as missing in what is known as the National Crime Information Center.
All right. Now, after you spoke with Mr. Straw, I think you said you did that on July 23rd, right after you the defendant spoke to you.
That's correct.
After you talked with Mr. Straw, did you get back to the defendant to go up to see her and talk to her?
I did stop at Dixie's house again and talk to her. As I drove into the driveway, she met me in the driveway.
All right. Let me show you what's been received into evidence as State's Exhibit Number 1. This has been identified as the Shanahan residence. Is that, do you recognize this as the Shanahan residence?
Yes, sir, that is Shanahan residence.
And about where did you park when you came to see her?
The pickup was sitting there, as I recall, so I parked probably on the right-hand side back to the south of the pickup.
Oh, right behind the pickup then?
Well, not necessarily right behind the pickup, but where the van is parked there. In the picture, it'd probably be back further this way from the van.
All right. And could you tell the jury what happened at that point?
Dixie proceeded to tell me that Scott had become upset with her because she became pregnant. He wanted her to have an abortion, and he beat the heck out of her.
Did she say when he left home?
She told me Scott had left home sometime in August of 2002.
Did he say whether he had taken anything with him when he left?
She told me that he took some clothes and a few of his possessions, but he did not take a vehicle.
Did she claim, now this is, again, this is July 24th of 2004, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did she claim whether and she's telling you that Scott left home in August of 2002, did she claim whether she'd heard from him since August of 2002?
Dixie told me that Scott had called her sometime around Christmas of 2002, wanting to get back with her, and she told him no.
Did she tell you about any other contact she claimed to have had with Scott?
She told me that he called her somewhere around February 2003 and wanted to be in the delivery room when she had her baby.
Did you ask her how he was getting by since he left with really nothing?
I did ask her what she thought he was living on, and she indicated to me that he had some mutual funds.
Is that pretty much the extent of your visit with her then on the 24th?
Yes, sir.
During this, how would you describe her? Her demeanor? Was she composed? Was she upset? How would you describe it to the jury?
Yeah, the meeting I had with her in the driveway, she seemed fairly composed.
You mentioned you entered Scott's name on a national crime information locating
Yes, sir.
system. What else did you do to try to locate Scott during that period of July 2003?
I had our communications center check the 50-state check for any car registrations or driver's license registrations in different states, thinking, well, if he did go to a different state, possibly something would show up on that, but it was a negative result.
Did you try to locate any individuals and determine from them, interviewing them, whether they'd seen him in the last year, Scott Shanahan?
Yes, sir, I did. I talked to a number of people in and around Defiance.
Do you recall any of the people you spoke with?
Yes, sir. I talked to a Laverne Smiths, who is a neighbor to the Shanahan residence just to the east of them. Talked to them. They had not seen Scott Shanahan for over a year. I also talked to a Terry Getz, who was a cousin to Scott Shanahan. He hadn't seen Scott since May of 2002 at a graduation reception for his son. I also talked to an individual by the name of Irv Polly, who was a friend of Scott's, and Irv had not heard or seen Scott for probably a year.
During this period of July up through about August 1, were you able to find any information that would lead you to locate or led you to locate Scott Shanahan?
No, sir.
At some point, did you ask for some assistance from the Division of Criminal Investigation?
Yes, sir. On July 31st of 2003, I contacted the DCI and asked their assistance.
And from that point on, did your department and the DCI work together trying to again, locate Scott Shanahan or find out what might have happened to him?
Yes, sir, we did.
How long did your investigation go on in this matter before you took any formal action?
We applied for a search warrant in October 17th this year, 2000.
So from about July 21 of 2003 until October 17th of 2003, your office, the DCI, was working to try to locate Scott Shanahan?
Yes, sir, we were.
And had not succeeded?
No, sir.
Was a search warrant issued in this case?
Yes, sir, there was.
And do you recall who issued that search warrant?
Judge Richardson.
What areas were authorized to be searched by that search warrant?
The house, vehicles, outbuildings.
Was an arrangement made and a time set to conduct that search then?
On October 20th, the search warrant was executed. That morning, Dave Jobs and I went to the Shanahan residence to talk to Dixie, see if she would come to the sheriff's office to talk to me.
Now, was that before you actually started doing the search of the vehicles in the residence?
That's correct.
Could you tell the jury about the circumstances, what time it was you went up to the Shanahan residence?
It was somewhere around 9:30 in the morning on the 20th of October. Went up, knocked on the door. Dixie answered the door. I asked her if she would be willing to come to Harlan to talk to me about Scott. She said yes, but she needed to take care of her kids before she left.
And so what happened at that point?
She made arrangements with the babysitter. She took her children to a babysitter, and she drove down to Harlan to my office.
Was she actually watching another child in addition to her own?
I believe she was, yes, sir.
So is your recollection, her 3 children were there as well as some other child she was babysitting?
Yes.
And you made arrangements, or she made arrangements for someone else to care for her?
She made arrangements for someone to take care of her children.
So how did she get down to the sheriff's department?
She drove her own car.
So you and Agent Jobs would have met her down here in Harlan at the sheriff's office?
That's correct.
Once you and Dave Jobs and the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, were down at the sheriff's office, did the 3 of you sit down for an interview to discuss the whereabouts of Scott Shanahan?
Yes, we did.
About how long would you say that interview lasted?
Probably an hour and a half.
As I understand the interview, there was a videotape made of the interview.
That's correct.
What's the sound quality like on that videotape?
It's fairly good.
Okay. Have you seen the transcript that was, they tried to generate a transcript from?
I saw it briefly, yes, sir.
Now, were you taking notes or anything during this interview?
No, I was not. Agent Jobs was.
All right. Was it really his responsibility to record what was said as much as possible and to note what Dixie said in response to your questions?
Yes, sir.
At any time during the interview, did the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, admit knowing where Scott Shanahan was?
No, sir, she did not. She, again, said that he was in Atlantic.
Once the interview was done, was she told that you were going to go ahead and search her vehicle and her house?
She was told she could not drive her car home. The car was going to be kept for a search, and we also told her that her residence was going to be searched.
Did you make any arrangements with her for transportation at that point?
She called an individual by the name of Catherine Myers for a ride, but Ms. Myers could not come and get her. So Dixie asked me if I would take her to Kathy Myers' house, which I did.
And where does Kathy Myers live?
Kathy Myers lives along Highway 59 north of Defiance.
Right. Is it actually within the town limits of Defiance, or?
No, it's out in the country.
All right. So you drove the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, up to the Myers residence?
Yes, sir, I did.
Let her off. Do you know about what time that was?
I'm going to say it was probably noon or after. I'm not sure.
When you stopped and let her out of the car, did the defendant say anything to you?
Yes, sir. She told me, she said, Gene, this is where I'll be.
All right. And then from that point, what did you do after you let off the defendant?
After I left the Myers residence, I went back to the Shanahan residence in Defiance.
Now, we've heard that a search was then conducted of the vehicle and then the house that afternoon.
That's correct.
Were you present when the search started, or what were your duties?
No, sir, I was not. Myself and another DCI agent were en route to do another interview. And en route to that interview, agent received a cell phone call which said we should come back to the Shanahan residence.
Were you going to do another interview in this case of a possible witness?
Yes, sir.
So you turned around, came back to Defiance.
That's correct.
And what happened when you arrived back in Defiance?
Well, the cell phone call said that the lab team thought they had found Scott Shanahan, so we proceeded back to the Shanahan residence.
And once you were there, did you, what did you find when you arrived at the Shanahan residence?
Well, I believe it was Paul Bush showed us in the house. Once we entered in the house, there was a real foul odor emitting from the residence. We went back to the hallway to the right off of the living room to a northeast bedroom. And there in that bedroom, there were some human remains on the bed.
Do you know, had Mr. Bush already taken his photographs and
I believe he had taken some, yes, sir.
okay. After we understand that the remains of Scott Shanahan were removed from the Shanahan residence that afternoon. After that occurred, did you and Dave Jobs take any action with respect to the defendant, Dixie Shanahan?
Yes, sir, we did. It was probably 3:25 in the afternoon. Agent Jobs and I went back to the Myers residence where we arrested Dixie Shanahan.
Could you describe that for us, how that occurred?
She was in the Myers residence. We went in there and talked to Mr. and Mrs. Myers, talked to Dixie, and told her she was under arrest.
Did you tell her that initially, or was there a question about whether she was under arrest or not?
I believe Catherine Myers had said, is she under arrest? And before Agent Jobs and I could say, yes, she was, Dixie replied, yes, I am.
So the defendant admitted she knew she was going to be arrested at that
Yes,
point.
sir.
And as I understand it, she was initially arrested as a material witness.
That's correct.
At that point, and
Yes, sir.
later rearrested on the charge here that we're here.
That's correct.
Did you and other officers return to the Shanahan residence the following day, October 21st, 2003, to continue a search of the whole residence?
Yes, sir, we did.
Among the items you were looking for, would be what?
We were looking for the weapon.
Okay. The weapon that had been used to kill Scott Shanahan?
Yes, sir.
Did you locate any weapon whatsoever that day?
I believe there was a pellet gun or something like that, but we were looking specifically for a shotgun, but we did not locate it, no.
Now, as this case progressed, I believe you were asked to give a discovery deposition on January 15th
That's correct.
of this year, 2004.
Yes, sir.
Now, as of the morning of that date, had any weapon that might have been used in this case been recovered?
No, sir.
And just so the jury understands, is the discovery deposition, is that a procedure where you come in and the defense attorney sit down with you, and I'm there as well, and a court reporter is there, and they ask you questions about what you know about the case?
That's correct.
Is that a pretty standard procedure
That's standard procedure, yes, sir.
in felony criminal cases?
Yes, sir.
During the course of this, of your deposition, Did there come an instance when the potential whereabouts of the weapon involved in this case became an issue?
Yes, sir, I did.
Could you describe that for the jury?
Excuse me. Now, Mr. Stinson had asked the question of me if I thought we did a thorough search of the residence, and I replied, yes, we did. I think he asked if we had found a weapon, and I replied, no. And I believe at that time you had asked Mr. Stinsland if he or any of his employees or his client or anybody associated with his client might know where the weapon was.
And was there some further discussion on that issue?
There was further discussion on the issue, yes, sir. And after a short period of conversation, I believe the weapon, Mr. Stinson said the weapon was in the Shanahan residence.
And this is on January 15th of 2004.
Yes, sir.
Did the defendant and Mr. Stinsland then consent to allowing a DCI agent, Agent Jobs, and Chief Deputy Hervey to go up there to the Shanahan residence and recover the shotgun?
Yes, sir, he did.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. On July 21st of 2003, you say you received a missing persons report. Is that correct? On Scott Shanahan?
Yes, sir.
Was that the first report you had received about that?
As I recall, yes, sir.
Is that the only report you received about that?
As I recall, yes, sir.
So one time from one anonymous person on July 21st of 03.
Yes, sir.
And the person's not really anonymous. You know who that person is, don't you?
That's correct.
Okay. But you told them you'd keep their name
That's correct.
to yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And as far as I know, you're the only person who knows who called?
No, I believe my chief deputy knows.
You knew Scott Shanahan and Dixie Shanahan.
Yes, sir.
You knew of their relationship.
Yes, sir.
You'd been out to that house before
That's correct.
for domestic situations.
Yes, sir.
You were given some information about a Richard Straw might have seen Scott Shanahan.
Yes, sir.
All right, and you went and talked to Richard.
Yes, I did.
Did he indicate that he thought maybe he had seen Scott?
That's correct.
You contacted numerous other persons to see if they had seen Scott also, correct?
Yes, sir.
Neighbors?
Yes, sir.
I think you mentioned a relative.
Yes, sir.
You contacted them, is that correct?
That's correct.
They didn't contact you?
No, sir.
A search warrant was issued in this case?
Yes, sir, it was.
And one of the reasons for that search warrant was a concern that Scott was too possessive to leave his things behind. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That he was not the kind of person that would leave his things behind.
That's correct.
You and Agent Jobs went to see Dixie on October 20th, is that right? Of last year?
Yes, sir.
Same day you did the warrant?
That's correct.
To interview her, correct?
Yes, sir.
Asked her to come back to Harlan,
Yes, sir.
and she did,
Yes, sir.
on her own,
That's correct.
in her own vehicle.
Yes, sir.
When the interview was over, you told her you were going to have to keep her car to search, right?
Yes, sir.
Nothing came of that search, did it?
No, sir. Did not.
She asked you to give her a ride to Kathy Meyer's house,
That's correct.
and you agreed to do that.
Yes, sir.
And as I understand it, when she got out of the car, Dixie turned to you and said, "Gene, this is where I'll be,"
That's correct.
and looked at you and said that.
Yes, sir.
In other words, I'm not going to run. I'll be here, right?
I guess you could interpret it like that. I think that you'll be back.
Either way.
Yes, sir.
You went to the Myers residence after the search to get Dixie and arrest her, correct?
That's correct.
And you went immediately from the Shanahan residence where you'd made the discovery of Scott's body, correct?
That's correct.
And you went and got Dixie, correct?
Yes, sir.
And took her to jail, correct?
Yes, sir.
And she went straight to jail.
That's correct.
She did not go back to that home, did she?
No, she did not.
When the weapon was recovered from the home, were you one of the persons that went up there? I can't remember.
No, sir, I was not.
All right. Jobs went, and who else went?
Chief Deputy Hervey.
Okay. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Just one or two questions, Your Honor. Mr. Straw initially said he thought he had seen Scott, but he was re-interviewed again.
Yes, sir, he was.
Did he back off that a little bit?
He did back off with it with Agent Joe's interview that he wasn't sure.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
You can step down.
Okay, then. I have been looking at stuff about this trial most of the day today. Even like newspaper reports cannot keep things straight. So, what's up, Haley? I saw at the beginning of this, when I was reading it, that after she took Scott out, she went and placed the firearm in her kid's closet. That's where it was recovered. If she didn't go back to the house after they said they were going to search it, I don't know who moved it. I don't know if anybody moved it. I'm surprised that she just left it in her kid's closet for over a year. But who am I to say anything? Because this whole thing is weird and a little crazy. So, hang on. But obviously they did not do a very, very thorough check of the house, as they say they did. Well, I didn't know what else to say, Bobby, because that was frustrating. I have been reading newspaper articles and things all day about this trial and this case. I mean, the information, some of it matches right up, and you can find it kind of like in everywhere. I couldn't even get numbers that agreed on how long the jury deliberated. I was just like, okay, whatever. So Kathy's not a neighbor. It also, there's reports out there that she was hiding at Kathy's house. Well, clearly she wasn't hiding at Kathy's house. She told the sheriff, I'm going to be right here. So I'm not going anywhere. He took it as, well, I knew you were going to come back. And she's just saying, I'm going to be right here. That's how when he said it, that's how I took it. It's like, I'm just going to be sitting right here. So, I know, Robin, I thought the same thing when I read it. And then when if it is true, if they testified to that here, that's where they end up finding it. If it's sat in there that whole entire time, that would be weird. Her house, we saw the pictures of her house. Her house was not a mess. The only clutter in the house was down the hallway to keep people from going to that back bedroom. So none of that was there. How could they not smell the decomp every time they showed up at her house? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how. I read articles today of people who she babysat their kids. And they were like, never smelled anything, never thought anything was weird. I'm telling you, the woman should open her own cleaning, like odor remover company or something, because she knew what to do. I mean, like, I don't know. So this is going to be Miss Kathy Myers, where she was hiding out. That is probably true tonight. It is rural Iowa. It's a small town. And back in, well, the early 2000s, when me being the old person here, Snipe, you'll probably be with me on this here. I'm not calling you old. When I went to high school, the guys had the racks in the back of their truck with their firearms in it. We didn't think a thing about it. Like, we didn't have any of the things they have nowadays. So I don't know what's happened, but you'd see that you weren't scared. So I don't know. And maybe that was the same then. No, she did not have half of Bath and Body Work in her house. She had they showed a picture of it. It was two little, but mighty, apparently, air fresheners and one little candle. It wasn't even like a whole row of candles. It was crazy. She was able to do that with a towel, 2 air fresheners, and a candle. Insane. But good for her, I guess. I don't know. All right. Kathy Myers. Let's see what she has to say. Because Dixie may or may not have made a statement to her. I don't know. I haven't listened to this. So we'll see what happens.
May I ask you to state your name, please?
Catherine Jean Myers.
Ma'am, the microphone in front of you is not it doesn't increase the sound in the room here. So I'll have to ask you to, even though it looks like you have a microphone in front of you, could you speak as loudly as possible?
Okay.
Say your name again.
It's Catherine Jean Myers.
And where do you live, ma'am?
Defiance, Iowa.
And
Ms. Myers, the jury has to hear what you say, and they're not hearing anything. They're not hearing what you're saying. You're going to have to speak a lot louder.
Okay.
and who do you reside there with?
My husband, Thomas Myers.
And how long have you lived in Defiance?
5 years.
Are you working outside the home right now?
No.
Have you ever worked outside the home?
Not since my husband and I have been together, no.
All right. So you've been in Defiance 5 years. Are you acquainted with Dixie Shanahan?
Yes, I am.
Do you see her in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Seated at the table over here?
Yes.
Your Honor, let the record show the witnesses identified the defendant. How long have you known the defendant, Dixie Shanahan?
A little over a year.
Do you remember when you first met her?
We became acquainted through my granddaughter and her children.
And what's your granddaughter? What's your granddaughter's name?
Adeline.
And is it your daughter and her children, or your granddaughter and your granddaughter's children?
No, it's my daughter and
Okay.
her child.
So Adeline is your granddaughter.
Yes, she is.
And Adeline was she a friend of the Shanahan children's?
Yes, she was.
Played with him?
Yes.
All right. And you, after you met the defendant, did you become a friend of the defendant's?
Yes.
And did you know where they lived?
Yes.
And when I say they, I mean Dixie Shanahan and her children. Calling your attention to the monitor up there, do you see that photograph on the TV monitor?
Yes.
That's State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And could you tell the jury what you recognize it to be?
Shanahan home.
Now, where did you live in relation to the Shanahan home?
We live outside town, but my daughter lives just a couple blocks from Dixie.
So your daughter lives a couple blocks. How far would you estimate you live from the Shanahan home?
2 miles.
Now, when you first met the defendant, Was Scott Shanahan present, to your knowledge, at the Shanahan residence?
No,
Have you ever met Scott Shanahan?
no.
Would you know what he looks like?
I had seen a photograph in a newspaper.
Other than that, would you know what he looks like?
No.
Did you ever ask the defendant, or did she ever tell you where Scott was?
That he had left.
Did she say where he had gone?
She had heard Avoca.
She told you that he was living in Avoca?
Yes.
Did she describe to you in any way the circumstances under which he left?
That he had been very abusive to her, and that at the time that he had left, he had not wanted the baby that she was carrying, Brittany, and he had been abusive at that point, and she wanted him out of there because she was afraid for Brittany's life.
All right. And so she told you that he had moved to Avoca.
She had said she had heard that.
All right. Did she say who she'd heard that from?
No.
Let me call your attention then to the day she was arrested. Do you remember the date?
October 20th.
All right. And do you recall the events of that day that she was arrested?
Yes, I do.
When was the first time you would have spoken with the defendant, Dixie Shanahan?
I had talked to her that morning.
About what time?
It was early morning. She was babysitting for my grandson that day, and usually we had talked on the phone quite often. And I think one of my sons had come home, or my husband hadn't left for work or something, as to why the phone conversation was cut short.
When you say early morning, could you give the jury an approximate time so we have an idea of what you mean?
Probably between 7:30 and 8.
And she was babysitting your grandson at that time?
Yes.
Do you recall anything in particular about that conversation?
No, it was just a normal conversation.
Did she regularly babysit your grandson, the defendant?
When I wasn't able to watch Salvador, she's watched my grandchildren a lot. My grandchildren are very fond of Dixie.
Okay. Did you hear from the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, again that day, October 20th?
Yes. At 10 minutes after 12, she had called to see if my husband is home from work yet.
And how would you just describe her voice at that time?
She was upset.
Why did she want to know whether your husband was home?
She said that she had needed a ride home from the sheriff's department.
Do you drive, or at least were you able to drive at that time?
No.
So, and your husband was at work.
Yes.
What did you tell the defendant then?
I was expecting him home any time because on Mondays he has a short day.
Did you ask her what the situation was?
Yes.
What did you say to her?
I asked her what was wrong.
And what did she tell you?
She said that she would explain later. She couldn't explain now.
So did you and the defendant reach any kind of agreement about what would happen at that point?
No.
Was she going to call you back? Or?
She called back again at 12:25, and my husband still wasn't home.
So what happened at that point?
My husband came home. Shortly thereafter, Sheriff Kavanaugh gave her a ride out to our home.
So the defendant did come to your home that day?
Yes, she did.
Could you tell us about what time it was she arrived?
Somewhere between 12:30 and 1.
And you were pretty close friends with her. Where were you when she arrived? And could you describe those circumstances to the jury?
I was in the bedroom talking to my husband, and I heard Dixie say Kathy, and she was extremely upset.
So you went out and you found she'd come on in the house then?
Yes.
Now, when you say extremely upset, that may mean something to you, but maybe it means something different to someone else. What did you actually see that made you believe she was upset?
She said that she had something to tell me, and she just couldn't yet.
All right. Was she, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, was she crying? Was she edgy? How would you describe her, how she was acting at that point?
She was crying at the time. My husband went and picked up an 18-pack of beer and 2 packs of cigarettes for her.
Had she wanted to go get those herself?
What she had asked to either borrow the car or if my husband could go get them for her, because she needed to calm down.
And so you sent your husband to go get that, and
Yes.
she stayed with you?
Yes.
And when I say she, I mean the defendant, Dixie Shanahan?
Yes.
How long was he gone, your husband?
Not even 5 minutes.
Is there a convenience store up there that you regularly go to? Is that where he went?
Yes, he went to Brenda's convenience store.
Brenda's? While he was gone, did you and the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, have any conversation about what was going on?
No.
Once your husband came back, did he bring the beer and the cigarettes back?
Yes, he did.
When he brought those back to your residence, what happened then?
Tom and Dixie had a beer, and Dixie was still unable to tell me what was going on.
Were you asking what's upsetting you? What's the problem?
Yes, I was. I was very concerned about her.
No, and she still was not able to tell you at that point?
No.
Did you receive a call somewhere around this time?
It was a little bit later. My husband had gone in and was going to pick up the kids. And dispatch had called and said that they were through with her car.
The sheriff's dispatch?
Yes.
Okay.
And said that she could come down and pick up the car. And I had informed them then that one of my sons would pick it up later because she was too upset to drive at the time.
So did your husband then leave to go get the kids? And you're speaking about the Shanahan children and your grandson?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we called Teresa because after dispatch had called and said they were going to the house, Dixie had said that they would find him. So we called and asked him not to bring the children back.
Let me stop there. So when dispatch called, they said that they were done with the car and that could be picked up. And then did they also say that now they're going to start searching the house?
Yes.
Okay. And did you tell the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, that?
Yes.
And when you told her that, what are you saying she said?
She said that they would find him.
Did you know what she meant by that?
I asked her what she meant.
And what did she say?
She said she couldn't take it no more.
Did she say who they were going to find?
I know she did not, but I knew who she meant.
Did she say what she had done to him?
After a while, yes, she did.
And what did she say?
She had shot him.
Did she tell you where he was?
At that point in time, Dixie was very hysterical. She had been crying off and on throughout the day, the time that she had been there. And I couldn't quite understand. It was something to do with a bathroom and a bedroom.
All right. How did the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, feel about what she had done?
I'm going to object to the way that question's phrased at this point in time.
Let me ask you this. Did she say how she felt about what she had done to Scott?
She said she didn't know if it was right or wrong, but she just couldn't take it no more.
Didn't she use the word justify?
I think that was the word that was used. I don't recall just how it was justifiable, what I did or what I didn't do, but I just couldn't take it no more.
And what she was saying to you, you correct me if I'm wrong, but she's saying to you, I can't justify what I did. Isn't that what she said?
Why is he not objecting to that? Like, make him show. If he knows that's what she said, then make him show her that's what she said.
No,
That seems weird.
I don't. I think at that point in time, I don't know really what she was saying.
She was saying, I don't know whether it was right or wrong. Is that what you're saying?
I think what she was saying, and it's that at the time she didn't, she didn't know.
Didn't know what?
She just. I really don't know. I can't say.
You've been interviewed a couple of times in this case by the investigators. And I think it was in that first interview you told them that she said she couldn't justify what she did.
She said she couldn't justify whether it was right or wrong, but she couldn't take it no more.
So she did say that.
Right or wrong,
And she couldn't justify it. Isn't that right, ma'am?
Yes.
All right. Now, at some point, did the sheriff return to your home that
Yes.
day? And did he have Dave Jobs with the DCI with him?
Yes, he did.
When the sheriff arrived at your home, where was the defendant, Dixie Shanahan?
In the closet.
Closet in the bedroom?
Yes.
Hiding?
Yes.
And when the sheriff and Dave Jobs arrived, what did Dixie Shanahan ask you to do or say to him?
First of all, she had said that she wanted us to tell him that she wasn't there, and we told her that we couldn't do that.
Then did she finally come out of hiding, and was she arrested?
She came out immediately, and yes, she was arrested.
All right. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Kathy, when Dixie talked to you about Scott and said he'd left, she told you he'd been very abusive to her. Is that right?
Oh, yes.
And that he didn't want the baby?
Yes.
The baby who's now Brittany?
Yes.
And that she wanted him out for fear of Brittany's life?
Yes.
When Dixie came to your house on the day that the search occurred,
Yes.
the day you had your conversation, you described her as extremely upset,
Yes.
crying.
Yes.
Different than you'd seen her before?
Very different.
You were asking her what was going on?
Yes.
Did you feel you needed to ask her what was going on because of the way she was acting?
Yes.
So she was acting upset enough and unusual enough that you felt you needed to get to the bottom of what was going on, correct?
Yes.
When the dispatch called and told you they were now going to search the home, are you the person who told Dixie that?
Yes, I am.
How did she react?
Just quietly said, they're gonna find him.
She didn't get more upset at that point, did she?
No,
It was kind of a quiet resignation, wasn't it?
it's just kind of they're gonna find him.
When she told you she shot him, do you remember the words that she used?
I was trying to get out of Dixie basically what was going on, because when she had said they're going to find him, I said, what did you do? You know, Dixie, where is he?
But what I'm trying to get at, Kathy, is what words did she use? Do you know, or are you
She
giving
said,
your
I
impression?
shot him.
Okay, those were her words. I
Yes.
shot. And then at that point in time, did you and her continue to talk about it a little bit?
At that point in time, Dixie started crying hysterically. And a couple times she'd laid down on the sofa and was kind of holding her stomach.
And she made some comments to you about not knowing if it was justified or if it was right or wrong, or
Yes,
she may have made several different comments along those lines. Is that correct?
yes.
Kind of talking to herself out loud a little bit?
I'm not sure.
But those statements weren't particularly in response to anything you asked, were they?
No.
It was her moment of soul searching, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
No questions, John?
Thank you, Kathy. You're excused. Be careful of.
Okay, so she did hide. There was zero in the stuff I was reading today, unless I just absolutely missed it, which is possible, that she was hiding in the closet. So she did. Okay. The state attorney, isn't his questions, I tell you. They are so slow. And they're not great. The defense, he at least asks decent questions. He asks good questions. He asks them in order. I don't feel like he's just so discombobulated all the time. You know, by the time someone missed him, Dixie could have dumped him somewhere and he may never have been found. Exactly. That's what, yes. I'm not condoning that. I'm not saying she should have done that. Had she been able to get rid of Scott, they probably could not have ever done anything with her. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I don't know. I mean, I do know. Like, don't hurt people. But I will tell you this, and I meant to tell you this at the end of the sheriff's testimony. Whoever that anonymous person is, that sheriff's department can actually keep a secret, because if that anonymous person actually exists, and I believe they probably do, I've never seen who made the call to the sheriff's department to say, hey, you need to check this out. It's kind of weird to me because, like, he had one friend because the family didn't care. The family didn't call. Nobody's calling. If you have to Earl someone, have a complete delete plan in place. Shani. So, yeah. So hats off to that person, whoever you are. The one friend that Scott had in the world. I hope he didn't beat you up. Okay, so here's our last witness for the day. This is Special Agent David Jobs. I think it's going to be, might be a lot of technical stuff, so I apologize. Especially with the state asking questions first.
What city?
I live in Ida Grove.
And what is your occupation?
I'm a special agent for the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation.
Now, could you give the jury an idea of what your duties are as a special agent?
Yes, I'm assigned to what we call our General Criminal Unit, and what we do is conduct criminal investigations at the request of local law enforcement agencies. They ask for our assistance on a case that maybe they don't have the manpower to work, or that maybe they don't feel they have the expertise to work.
Are you assigned, you say you live in Ida Grove, are you assigned to any part of the state? Is the state divided into zones or anything like that?
Yes, the state is divided into 4 zones. Western Iowa is Zone 2, and that comprises roughly 31 or 32 counties. I'm assigned to the Denison office and work cases generally within 50 to 75 miles of Denison.
Could you tell the jury what education and background and training you have that qualify you as a special agent with the DCI?
Yes. I received my bachelor's degree from Simpson College in 1991. Following that, I was hired by the O'Brien County Sheriff's Office as a deputy sheriff. And through that employment, I was sent to the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy. I worked for O'Brien County for approximately 1 year, at which time I was hired by the State Division of Criminal Investigation, and I also attended their training academy. The way that the Department of Public Safety does things, they send everyone through their training academy, whether or not they're already certified.
After that, what position did you hold with the DCI?
I was initially hired as a gaming enforcement officer, and I was assigned to do gambling regulation at the Riverboat in Sioux City, Iowa.
At some point, were you, I don't know if the correct word is promoted, but reassigned to another assignment?
Yes, I was. I was made a special agent in the fall of 1994 and assigned to the Denison field office.
And so have you been a special agent since '94 working general criminal investigation?
Yes, I have.
In addition to your training at the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy, have you received some additional training after that in homicide investigations and things like this?
Yes, I have. Some of it is on-the-job training, but I've also attended a 2-week homicide investigation course at the Southern Police Institute. I also attended a national homicide conference in Kansas City, Missouri, and have attended various other short training courses in other areas.
Now, at some point, were you asked, in this case, to help the Shelby County Sheriff's Office in a missing persons investigation?
Yes, I was.
When did you first become involved?
I first became involved, we had a meeting, I believe it was on August 7th of 2003 at the Shelby County Sheriff's Office.
And from that point on, did you work with Chief Deputy Hervey and Sheriff Gene Kavanaugh in investigating the whereabouts of Scott Shanahan?
Yes, I did.
Could you give the jury a general idea of the kinds of things you did trying to locate him?
Generally, I was looking at records that I could locate in an effort to find him. I looked at some criminal history records, driver's license records, hoping to see if he'd been arrested somewhere, received a traffic ticket somewhere, possibly gotten a driver's license in another state. I checked some employment information to see if he was receiving income through employment either in Iowa or in another state, hoping to locate him somewhere.
Did any of these possible leads pan out?
No, they did not.
And as we understand it, a search warrant was issued on October 17th, and it was set for the search to be conducted on October 20th of 2003.
That's correct.
The search would be of the Shanahan residence that you see in the monitor, State's Exhibit 1?
Yes, it was.
Now, before that search was actually conducted, Sheriff Kavanaugh told us that you and he went up to meet with Dixie Shanahan, the defendant here, and have her come down to Harlan for an interview that morning.
That's correct. We went to her home and spoke with her briefly at the doorway and made arrangements for her to meet us at the Shelby County Sheriff's Office.
And she did meet you there, and as we understand it, you and the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, and Sheriff Kavanaugh sat down and spent about an hour and a half discussing Scott Shanahan and his whereabouts.
That's correct.
We understand Sheriff Kavanaugh said that a videotape was made of the interview. Is that right?
Yes, it was.
And he thought the sound quality was pretty good, but he hadn't looked at it for a while. How would you describe the sound quality on that videotape?
Good at times, poor at times as well.
And why was that?
Throughout the tape, there's a hiss in the background, which makes it a little bit difficult to hear. But there's also times when perhaps one of us in the interview room is talking softly and the microphone didn't pick the sound up very well. There's also times when 2 or even 3 of us are talking at the same time, and it's just real difficult to make out what each individual person is saying.
We do have that videotape available, though, if we would need to listen or watch it. Is that right?
Yes, we do.
Now, at the beginning of the interview, did you advise the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, of her rights?
Yes, I did.
And did she agree to speak with you?
Yes, she did. She signed a written waiver of those rights before we started.
Now, as I understand it, you said sometimes voices were speaking in low tones. Was this, how would you describe the atmosphere of this interview?
The majority of the interview was, I guess I would say, casual or laid back, more conversational than confrontational.
All right. As you began the interview, did either you or the sheriff actually explain to the defendant why you were there, what you were interested in?
Yes, I think the sheriff primarily did that and just explained to her that, he explained to her who I was and that I was helping with the investigation, and explained that we were trying to locate Scott and figure out what was going on, and asked her to explain to me the things that she had previously told him.
During the interview, did she tell you how long she'd been married to Scott Shanahan?
Yes, I believe she said that they had been married since 1995, but that they had been together for 19 years.
What about, how did she characterize the marriage relationship?
She said that they had had a lot of domestic problems.
And did she say how many children they had?
They had 3 children.
Had this subject of the children caused any problems in the marriage?
Yes, it had.
What did she tell you and Sheriff Kavanaugh during the interview about that?
It primarily related to the youngest child, that that actually they had decided prior to the birth of that child that they didn't want any more children, and that to that end, she had actually gotten rid of all of her baby clothes and other things. A short time later, she discovered that she was pregnant.
All right, so in the interview, she told you that after they had 2 children, after the second child, she and Scott had jointly decided not to have any more children. She'd gotten rid of the baby clothes and then found out later that she was again pregnant.
That's correct.
Okay. Did she say when it was she found out that she was pregnant?
I believe she said it was in August or September of 2002.
And did she tell you that this caused some kind of difficulty or a fight between the two of them?
Yes, she said that when she told Scott that she was pregnant, he became very upset with her because he did not want another child.
What did she say happened at that point?
They got into a fight. I believe this was on an evening, and that fight lasted throughout the evening, and they ended up going to bed still mad at one another and not on speaking terms.
And did she describe when she used the word fight, or as you understood the fight, what kind of, was this an argument? What kind of fight was it, as far as you could tell, or you understood?
My understanding and recollection was that at least initially it was a verbal fight.
What happened next, according to what the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, told you in the interview?
She said that Scott had wanted her to get an abortion, and that was not something that she wanted to do.
And then you say that they went to bed that night?
That's correct.
What happened the following morning?
The following morning, I believe she indicated that their oldest, their son Zachary, had gone in to say goodbye to his dad before he went to school. And when Scott got up later that morning, he was still angry at her over the pregnancy.
And so when Scott got up that morning, what happened then, according to what the defendant told you?
The fight resumed, I guess, or continued, and became more of a physical altercation.
And what happened at that point, according to the defendant? What did she tell you in the interview?
That Scott came after her, was telling her that she was going to have an abortion, or that, I believe her words were that he would kill the baby, and he was punching her in the stomach.
And what happened then, according to the defendant?
I believe that fight came to some type of an end based on what she said. She described her husband as a horrible drunk, and he went to buy beer, went to a back bedroom, and basically drank himself into a stupor and stayed there the rest of the day.
Now, later on in the interview, did she have anything further to say about Scott Shanahan and drinking?
Later in the interview, she indicated that he couldn't really hold his alcohol and that he wasn't much of a drinker.
So he, according to what the defendant told you in this interview, he went to bed and stayed there the rest of the day. What happened next, according to the defendant?
She said that the following morning, again, they were still arguing about this pregnancy, and that she told him that this time she was not going to leave. She had left 4 times before, and she wasn't going to disrupt the kids that way again, and this time he needed to leave.
So she is telling you and Gene Kavanaugh, the sheriff, that this time she told Scott he had to leave.
That's correct.
Did she tell you and the sheriff what happened after that?
She said that she told Scott that she was going to go visit her sister Donna and her sister's boyfriend in the Lincoln, Nebraska area, and that Scott basically had better be gone when she returned, or that she would have him arrested.
And so she told you, I went to Lincoln, and did she say what happened when she came back to the Shanahan residence then?
She said that she did go to Lincoln, and that when she came back, Scott was gone.
And again, what date or approximate date did she put on this?
She didn't have an exact date. My impression was it was late August of 2002.
Now, she's told you and Sheriff Kavanaugh that when she got back from Lincoln, he was gone. Did you ask her, or did she say during the interview to you and Sheriff Kavanaugh whether she'd seen him since then?
Yes, she said that she had.
Could you describe to the jury what the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, told you about seeing Scott Shanahan after the August 2002?
Yes, she said that he continued to stop by the house after he had left. She said that he had stopped by the house, I believe she said 3 times over the next weeks to months. Each time that he stopped by the house, he was driving a small blue pickup, and there was a woman with him that she did not know. She described this woman as being approximately 40 years old, with shoulder-length blonde hair, a little bit heavier set. She went on to say that she had asked Scott who this woman was, and Scott told her that it was his girlfriend and it was none of her business.
So each of these 3 times, the defendant was claiming that Scott stopped home at the Shanahan residence accompanied by a blonde woman in her 40s.
That's correct.
Did she say on these 3 instances that occurred after August 2002 why he was stopping back?
She said that on each occasion he picked up some of his clothing and some CDs or other personal effects.
Did you ask her, or did she say during the course of this interview, and this is still in the morning of October 20th before you'd searched the house, right?
That's correct.
During this interview that morning, did she tell you and Sheriff Kavanaugh whether she'd had any other contact with Scott after those 3 times he'd stopped back at the residence?
Yes, she indicated there were 2 other instances in which she had some telephone contact with Scott.
And could you tell, what was the first she described for you in this interview you had with her?
Chronologically, the first one she talked about was a telephone call from Scott at Christmas time of 2002.
And did she say what the substance of this call was, the defendant? Did she describe it for you?
Basically 2 things. Scott wanted to get back together, and he wanted to come visit the children.
And did the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, say to you and Sheriff Kavanaugh what she responded to Scott at that time?
Yes, she told us that she told Scott he could not come to visit the kids, and that she had a concern that he would take off with the children if he did so.
And this was a call she described as occurring at Christmas time 2002.
That's correct.
And you said there was another instance, another contact. Was that after Christmas of 2002?
Yes, there was a second telephone contact that she described in February of 2003.
Between she and Scott Shanahan?
That's correct.
What did the defendant tell you during this interview this contact amounted to, or how did she describe it?
She said that Scott had again called her. He wanted to know if she had given birth to their child yet. When she told him that she had not, he told her that he wanted to be in the delivery room with her for the birth of their child. She went on to say that she told him he couldn't do that. That their relationship was over, that she did not want him to be there for the birth of the child. She told us that Scott then told her he was going to get an attorney and fight to be in the delivery room for the birth of their child.
And this was all in this morning before you conducted the search and during this interview?
That's correct.
During the course of the interview, did she tell you where Scott, she thought Scott was, or where he was?
Yes, she said that during one of those telephone calls, Scott had told her that he was living in Atlantic.
Did she ever make any statements during this interview about whether she had anything to conceal from you and Sheriff Kavanaugh as investigators in the case?
At different times, she did make the statement, "I have nothing to hide."
During the interview, you said she mentioned that she thought Scott was in Atlantic. Did she say where he might be living exactly in Atlantic?
Yes. She said that Scott was acquainted with a man by the name of Mark, and that's all that she knew about this individual, is that his name was Mark and that he supposedly lived near a grocery store in Atlantic and that this grocery store was now closed. And that's really all she knew about that.
Now, I think Deputy Kelly had asked the defendant back in July, about 3 months before this, about whether she had sold his tools, whether the defendant had sold Scott's tools. Did you ask her, you and Sheriff Kavanaugh ask her about that during this interview in October of 2003?
Yes, we did.
What did she say to you and Sheriff Kavanaugh?
She said that she had sold his cars and a tractor and some other things, but that he had taken his Snap-on tools and a large upright Snap-on toolbox with him when he left.
Was the subject of the Prudential mutual fund account discussed during this interview?
Yes, it was.
Could you tell the jury what the defendant stated about that account?
Yes. She explained the nature of the account was some money that she and Scott had received as an inheritance when Scott's mother passed away. She told us that at one point that account had a balance of approximately $150,000. She told us that they had used that money to make the house payment and for some other living expenses, but that the money had run out.
Did she say whether she'd received any information regarding that money finally running out?
Yes. She said that in July, she didn't give us a name, but she said that the man from Prudential had called the house and told them that the account was empty. There was nothing left in the account.
At any time during the interview, did she describe Scott's relationship with the children?
Yes, she indicated that she believes Scott had a good relationship with the children, although in her opinion he was a little bit hard on them when he would get angry.
At some point in time, was a break taken during this interview process?
Yes, it was.
The defendant was allowed to go out and have a cigarette and relax a little bit?
Use the restroom, have a cigarette, and get out of the room for a few minutes, yes.
Either before that break or after that break, did you ever indicate to her during the interview that you were having a hard time accepting some of the things she was stating about Scott's whereabouts?
Yes, that would have occurred after the break.
And could you tell the jury what you said and what her response was?
Basically, I told her that the story that she was telling us about getting into this big fight and Scott being a very controlling domestic abuser, very violent, somewhat possessive of his things, that picture of Scott didn't really fit with him simply leaving the house to her, all of his tools, his car, everything behind, and just walking away from that.
Now, let me ask you this. Did you actually ask her at some point during the interview whether anything bad had happened to Scott as far as she knew?
Yes, I did.
Now, was that at that point or was that a little earlier in the interview? Do you recall?
I think it was during that portion of the interview, but actually a little bit later in the entire interview process.
Okay. What did you say to her as best you can recall, and what did she respond?
This was at a point, again, later in the interview when we had been talking about having a hard time believing her version of events. And she was getting a little bit more upset and feeling more, I guess, accused is the best way that I can describe the way I interpreted the way she was acting. And she made some type of a statement about feeling like fingers were being pointed at her, feeling like she was being accused of something. And I just said, as long as you brought that subject up, Dixie, are you aware of anything bad happening to Scott?
And what was her response to that, as you recall?
Her response was, no, I'm not aware of anything bad happening to Scott. And she went on to say, it's not an exact quote, but close to what she said. She said, did I do anything bad to Scott? No, I did not. Did I have anyone do anything bad to Scott? No, I did not.
After the break was taken, did the interview last much longer?
I can't give you a time, probably less than half an hour.
And at the conclusion of the interview, was the defendant advised that you did have a search warrant for her car and her house, and that those searches were going to be done that day?
Yes, she was.
And I believe Sheriff Kavanaugh has described some arrangements that were made for her to have transportation to wherever she needed to go.
That's correct.
We've heard that the search was conducted, initially at least, by two criminalists, Carl Franzenberg, Paul Bush of the DCI lab.
That is correct.
Where were you when they began the search of the Shanahan residence that we see in State's Exhibit Number 1?
Well, at the very beginning, when we first arrived to serve that search warrant, I would have gone into the home with Paul Bush and Carl Franzenberg and done what we call an initial walkthrough of the house. We don't touch anything, move anything, just a walkthrough to get the layout of the house and get an idea where the different rooms are and just, like I said, the layout of the house. So I would have done that with them.
During that, nothing was moved, no doors were opened, no areas explored.
That's correct.
So after you did that, what did you do next? I mean, what was your...
Basically, I left them to take their photographs and began searching, and I went across the street to the Defiance fire station and waited with some of the other officers.
At some point, was your request or your assistance requested inside the house?
Yes, after a period of time, Paul Bush came out and made a gesture for myself and the others to come over because he needed some assistance.
And what was the reason for his call for your help?
He told me that they believed they had found something, but that they were having a difficult time getting into a room.
And tell us what happened then.
I went into the house with the two criminalists and went to the northeast bedroom. First, we went to the door in the bathroom, between the bathroom and the northeast bedroom, and while the door was not locked, it was blocked on the inside. As far as we could tell, it was a hamper or something similar. We didn't really want to force that open and have the hamper fall over and potentially rearrange the room or alter any evidence. So we went around to the other door, which was locked. I used a screwdriver or something similar to unlock that door. It was a passage lock set, similar to most people have on a bathroom. You just use a screwdriver to turn a button and then it's unlocked.
It's one of those handles with a hole in the middle of it and you stick the screwdriver through it?
Actually, I believe it could have been like that, or it could have been the type that you actually do turn something similar to a screw head on the outside of the knob.
You didn't have to actually force the door open, damage the door in any way?
No, I did not.
Did you actually enter the bedroom at about the time that the two criminalists did?
Yes, I did.
Let me put up for your review Exhibit Number 25. Pull that back a little bit. My question for you is is this how you first observed the bedroom when you opened the door with Paul Bush and Carl Franzenberg there?
Yes, it is.
So this is a view looking right from the doorway towards the bed?
As far as I can tell, yes, it is.
Now, did you at any point enter the bedroom and see what was under the covers?
I did enter the bedroom. At the time that I was in the bedroom, the covers were only pulled back to expose what we later learned was Scott Shanahan, his head.
So the rest of the photographic process, the examination, the medical examiner, that was all done while you were not in the bedroom?
That's correct.
We've understood that the body was removed from the Shanahan residence and that you and Sheriff Kavanaugh then went out to arrest the defendant. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
Could you describe how you recall the arrest of the defendant and how that occurred?
We had, prior to making the decision to go arrest the defendant, Dixie Shanahan, We had some discussions amongst ourselves and with the county attorney, Marcus Gross, concerning whether she should be charged with the death of her husband at that point in time or simply arrested as a material witness at that point in time. Through those discussions, we made the decision to arrest her as a material witness because at that point in time, we were not absolutely certain that this was Scott Shanahan that we had found. We believed it was, but we wanted to be certain before we took the next step of charging her with his death.
So you and Sheriff Kavanaugh did go to the Myers residence that afternoon?
Yes, we did.
And could you describe to the jury what happened at that point?
We arrived at the Myers residence, went to the door, and I believe we were first met at the door by Kathy Myers. And we asked her if Dixie was there, and told her that we needed to see Dixie. She led us into the home. When we got to the second door in the home, we were met by Kathy Myers' husband, Tom Myers, and we repeated our request to him, and he indicated yes, Dixie was there, and led us into the remainder of the home. And once we got into the home, we were told that Dixie was in a back room and that they would go get her for us.
And did the defendant then come out very shortly after that?
Yes, she did.
How would you describe her appearance when you first saw her as she came out from one of the back bedrooms at the Myers house?
She appeared to me to be very, I guess I would describe her as subdued, possibly intoxicated. I believe she had a beer in her hand at that point in time, and she was just very subdued.
Now, you were present here in Harlan on January 15th of 2004, and this would be obviously several months later after October 20th of 2003. You were here for some discovery depositions?
Yes, I was.
And while you were here in Harlan, I believe during Sheriff Kavanaugh's deposition, the subject of recovery of the shotgun used in this case came up. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
And were you asked, along with Chief Deputy Mark Hervey, to obtain a consent form from the defendant and go to her residence in Defiance and take custody of the gun?
Yes, I believe we were advised that the defendant and one of her attorneys would meet us at her home in Defiance and make the gun available to us.
And so did you go up to 206 3rd Avenue, Defiance that afternoon?
Yes, we did.
And were you met by the defendant and one of her attorneys?
Yes, we were.
Could you describe what happened at that point?
The first thing that we did was used a consent to search form that the DCI has. It's a pre-printed form that we use in these types of situations when someone's given us consent to search their home or other property. We filled out that form and asked the defendant to sign it and asked her attorney, Mr. Fagan, to sign it as a witness, which they both did.
And at that point, were you directed to any particular area of the house regarding the shotgun?
Yes, we were directed to the bedroom, or to the children's bedroom in the closet.
If you can point out, I've got a pointer here for you. Push the button.
Yes.
Could you point out to the jury the part of the home you were directed to on January 15th?
Be this bedroom here, and specifically this part of the closet.
All right. Now, did you make photographs of this area during the process of taking custody of the gun?
Yes, I did.
Let me show you what are marked as State's Exhibits 45, 46, 47, 48, and 49, all of which are photographs. Are those photographs of the children's bedroom and the gun that you recovered on January 15th, 2004, Shanahan residence?
Yes, they are.
And do they fairly and accurately depict the room and the gun as you found it at that time?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, the state offers into evidence exhibits 45, 46, 47, 48, 49.
No objection.
45 through 49 are admitted.
Let me put up exhibit 45 for the jury and yourself to take a look at. What part of the bedroom are we looking at here in this exhibit?
We were basically looking in the doorway of the bedroom into just the general part of the room.
All right. Now, if we were actually in the house, where would we be standing as we're looking at this exhibit number 45?
We'd be standing approximately here.
And we're looking into the, what would it be, the southeast?
Into this portion of the room.
Okay. Towards the southeast or center, of the south and southeast center of the room?
That would be correct, yes.
All right. And then let me put up exhibit 46 and ask you to locate this area for the juries.
That would be a view from roughly the center of the room towards the closet, like this.
So now we're looking right into the closet. And this is the closet in the child's room. We're looking directly west. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Is the gun visible in this view?
No, it's not.
Using this photograph, you actually recovered the gun from this closet, right?
Yes, we did.
If you could try to use your pointer onto the photograph here, that seems to work best. Could you try to show the jury where the gun ultimately was found in the closet? I know we can't see it here, but...
Ultimately, it would have been in this end of the closet here.
So you go in and around that door?
Around that door would be correct.
All right. Let me put up exhibit number 47. And could you describe to the jury from what angle this picture is taken and what we can see here?
This would be taken from, if you look at the diagram, from this portion of the room, looking this direction into the closet, looking to the north and northwest into the closet.
You said 47.
Did I?
You already have a 47.
Oh, I do.
Well, I don't know. You said 45 through 49, and you said you've...
Yeah, this one's already admitted, right?
Okay, all right. Well, they all are, but I thought you referred to 47 earlier, so that's a different picture. So.
Well, I must have misspoke, Judge.
All right.
I've been doing that. But this is exhibit 47, just so I don't throw you off there. Is the gun visible in this exhibit?
Yes, it is.
All right. Could you use your pointer onto, as well as you can, onto the photograph?
Approximately there. A little bit difficult for me to see from this angle, but yes, right there.
That's the gun right there?
Yes.
And then, is it correct, I don't mean to belabor the point, but it's back in this corner up here of the closet?
That is correct.
Exhibit 48, which I'll put down for you to look at. Is this a close-up then of the gun as some things were moved away so you could see it better?
Yes, a close-up. We had moved a few things out of the way, and also, as you can see, we put a little bit more light in so that we could see the shotgun better.
It looks like, is that somebody's hand holding a flashlight, putting some light into the closet?
Yes, it is.
All right. And again, this looks like the trigger area of the shotgun, and this is the stock, and then it's leaning upright in the closet.
Yes, it is.
Now, once you photographed it from that position, was it removed from the closet, put on the floor for another photograph to document its condition?
Yes, it was.
All right. Let me show you then Exhibit 49. And ask you if, is that the shotgun then recovered from the children's closet on January 15th, 2004?
Yes, it is.
Now, I notice that there's a blue cable, I'll call it, that's on the shotgun.
Yes, there is.
Was that as you found it then?
Yes, it was on the shotgun when we found it.
And were you given any information about where does that blue cable have a function?
It's a lock that's passed through the action of the firearm to prevent the gun from being used. The bolt can't be closed, and therefore the gun can't fire.
All right. And did you receive any information on how that cable lock was placed on the gun?
Yes, I did.
What'd you learn about that?
We were told by Mr. Fagan that he and Mr. Stensland had first learned of the location of the shotgun when he indicated on the date that the defendant was released from the Shelby County Jail. We did a check of some records and learned that that was October 29th, 2003. He further indicated that on, I believe it was November 17th of 2003, that a DHS worker was going to make a visit to the Shanahan home concerning the possible return of her children. And in preparation for that, Mr. Fagan and their investigator, Tammy Kavanaugh, had gone to the home, picked up the shotgun, placed the lock through the action to make it safe, and returned the shotgun to its original position.
Original in terms of when you would have found it?
Original to where they had found it and where we ultimately found it.
One more question on this. I'd like to show you Exhibit 36. Could you examine that in a safe manner and tell us whether that is the shotgun that we see here in the photograph Exhibit 49?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Once you photographed Exhibit 36, what did you do with it?
I did give it a cursory examination to see what condition it was in, whether or not it was loaded, things like that.
Did you ultimately pack it up and deliver it to the state lab for examination?
Yes, I did.
Before you did that, and during your cursory exam, did you check it to see whether it had any ammunition in it?
Yes, I did.
What did your check of the weapon at that point show?
I was able to see that there was a 12-gauge shotgun shell loaded into the tube magazine of that 16-gauge shotgun. And I could also see that there was a 20-gauge shell in the chamber of that 16-gauge shotgun, which had an indentation in the primer from the firing pin of a weapon, later learned to be that weapon.
Now, we saw that it was leaning in the closet, and you must have handled it to remove it from the closet and lay it on the floor.
Yes, I did.
You must have also handled it when you checked it to see whether it was loaded. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of precautions, if any, did you take to preserve any evidence that might be on the gun?
A couple of precautions. I handled it as carefully and as minimally as I could, and I also wore a pair of latex gloves at the time to prevent leaving any of my fingerprints behind on that weapon.
And at any time you handled the weapon during examination or packaging, you would have handled it with latex gloves?
That's correct.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Why don't we take a break before you do your cross? Okay, you can step down. Thank you. We'll give you about 15 minutes. We'll call you back to the courtroom when we're ready. Please be seated.
Thank you. I just have a couple of very quick things I want to talk to you about.
When you, after you took a break, you came back and told Dixie you didn't think the story was making sense. Remember testifying to that on direct? Yes. And that you told her that Scott being abusive, possessive, and controlling doesn't fit with just leaving. Is that what you told her? Right. Do you believe that to be true?
In my opinion, yes.
So a person who has those characteristics doesn't just leave, do they?
Not in my opinion.
When the search warrant was issued and the search was done, the house was secured for a period of time so nobody could intrude upon that search. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
What period of time was that?
Between, can you be a little more specific for me,
Yeah,
please?
when did you let the house go back? When did you give up your search, the house?
Would have been, I believe, the following day, October 21st. I can't recall the exact time, 3 or 4 in the afternoon, somewhere in that neighborhood.
And then the house was no longer secured at that point in time, and the search was complete.
I wouldn't say the house was not secure. We locked the house when we left, so it was secure in that fashion, but we no longer maintained control of it.
And secured probably wasn't the right word. It was not secured so that only you had access to it at that point. It was secured in the sense you locked it up.
That's correct.
Okay. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
No questions, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. Job.
There you have it. That states questioning is so painful. It is so painful. It wasn't loaded, so that was good. It was secured, so that's good. Odd. The lock through the rifle, the shotgun, whatever it is, so that, nobody could have accidentally done anything with it. Surprises me. I'm glad it was there, but it just surprises me that she did that. I wonder when she did that. That day after? Like, who knows? It is so boring. It is. That's why it's secured. Should be that the cops had control over it and no one else. Yes, and I will tell you, I was reading chat and I kind of spaced out at that very last part of it. So I kind of missed if she had time to go back, and she was in jail though. She was in jail. They had to raise money to get her out. So I don't remember, I don't know that I know her day that she was released on bail. Probably right after, because she never wanted to have to do that ever again. Yes. I bet their wives don't suffer from insomnia. Maybe they're just like, all they hear is the droning on and on and on in their minds, and they can't shut it off. They're just like, please, I just want to sleep. I just want to go to sleep. Okay, so tomorrow we finish up the state's case. They're going to arrest. We have 2 witnesses tomorrow. One is Dixie's former cellmate. So I don't know if she's a jailhouse snitch. She's testifying for the state. So we'll see. I have no idea. And then we have another criminalist that will wrap up the day. I won't be here on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we will start with part 1 of Dixie's testimony with the defense. Yeah, I can't sleep. Tell me about your day, honey. And make sure you tell me every question you asked in court, please, and how you asked it. And what did they say? Anything at all? Oh my gosh. I will there was a couple of articles. Yes, all the details. Oh, my kids say that is me, Heidel. Some of us can't help the insomnia, though. Conditioned to be an alert at the slightest noise. My daughter would tell her friends I could hear a mouse fart. She's like, man, you would hear that door. You would hear that front door every time. But yet then they told me as they were adults that they did manage to sneak out a few times. That was something I never, ever had the nerve to do. I was always too scared. I snuck back in, like when the plans that I had made to stay out all night didn't work out, that I would be like, okay, I'm sneaking back into my house. And my parents wouldn't know I was there till the next morning. They got up and my car was out in the driveway. Such a nerd. I know. You don't have to tell me. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I was going to tell you. So some of the articles I was reading about this today had comments on them. And I did save an opinion page out of a newspaper that had comments about this trial in it, which were interesting. But there's this one publication that there was a guy on there that just does not like this defendant at all. But then there would be, and the women always were defending her. It was mostly men not defending her, mostly women defending her, but there were a few men defending her and women not defending her. It was pretty interesting, but I would say overall the breakdown was the women were in Dixie's corner more than men. So it's was not surprising to me though, and I'm not bashing either side. It's just we tend to protect our own sometimes. So that's how I kind of looked at that. It didn't surprise me. I am saving most of that. Well, I'm saving that towards the end, or for the end, after we get through everything, so that I can update and we can close this all up in a nice tiny little package with a pretty little bow on the top of it. There is some information I have not been able to find yet. I don't know that I'm going to be able to, but I'm going to try. So I will not divulge what that is yet, because I'm going to keep looking. It's just weird to me that it's just not out there, but whatever. I did find a picture of her, of the kids in one of the newspaper articles. I didn't save that. Just, they're young. The youngest one's a baby, but even though who knows what they look like now, if they, maybe their names have been changed. I have no idea. I just did not feel that it would be fair to put that out there of them. So I know it's out there, but I'm not going to do it. But there's just so many more twists and turns to this case once it ends. So I'm excited to share that. I'm excited to get through the state's case and get to Dixie's testimony. So we're getting there. We are getting there. And I don't know, once, okay, so we will finish this up next week. And then we can figure out what we're going to do next. And I have that one trial in mind that I talked to you about earlier. I'll make sure, I'll ask you more when we get to the end of this to see if that's what we're going to go do. It's a more recent trial. It's about 4 months old. I want to see it. Carmen has been telling me, you got to look at this. You got to look at this. You got to look at this. So I did. And it looks kind of interesting, or looks interesting. So that we'll see. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Oh, yeah, you weren't. I don't think you were here. John, you were one of the people. So I know somebody, whoever maybe, somebody in here has watched it, but said they would watch it again. I gotta find his name again. It's like DIMA. He was a, it's not a drug. That does sound like a drug, doesn't it? But I can't think of his last name. He was adopted and then accused of taking out his parents here not too long ago. It's like, it's not Demon. I know his first name is DIMA. I cannot think of his last name, and I can't find my notes where I had that written down, because I maybe had to tear that paper. It was really close, though. You are correct. I'll have to find it, John, and put it up there again. I'm thinking you saw some of that one. Okay, I'm thinking it was in Florida. I know that'll shock everybody. Nothing ever happens in Florida, but I think it was. Oh wait, I'm way back. I'm way too far back for those notes. I'll find it. But I don't have it today. I don't have it right at the moment. Maybe it's over here. Oh my gosh. So I did find, and I will share this, about the money. You know, they're trying to kind of chase the financial trail for her. Is it Tower? Okay, yes. There we go. Thanks. Thanks, Haley. Thanks, John. I knew I could count on you guys. The financial stuff that they're trying to tie back to her from the $150,000 that he got for his, when his mom passed away. And that was down to apparently, I don't know, $3,000 or something before he passed away. Well, was taken out, whatever. If her financial crime, I mean, it is, added up, totaled less than $2,000 out of that money after he passed away. She was like, it's not like she was making bank here, okay? Like, come on. I know it was wrong. I get it. But I doubt that was a motive. I don't know, Deidre. I have not looked that closely at it. Of course you were. Of course, Snipe. You were a perfect young man. Never snuck out. There were people outside. Mine was, I just didn't want anything bad to happen to me while I was out. And then my parents have to find out that I was out that way because, you know, I was somewhere where I wasn't supposed to be. And I was in jail or worse. And that would be horrible. So I didn't want that to happen. Are you thinking of the one in, was that Nevada, where she took the guy's head off? Like, she was nuts. Or she came across that way in her hearing. I didn't watch that trial. She was crazy. But I don't know. So anyway, that's the plan as of right now. We'll finish up the state tomorrow. And, I don't know. That's all I got. I'm not used to not having Gabby here. I get used to not having her here, and then she's here, and then she's not here. I don't know what to do. The OnlyFans one has been delayed again till August. What? She left the nuts, just took the head. Are you thinking of Lorena Bobbitt? Sorry for the late statement here. I was out walking the dog. What's your late statement, Jenny? T.I.M.'s last name is Witted. Honey, you have been on one tonight. It's funny. Yeah, that woman was, yeah, she was that kind of a star. And, whew. That was bad. Bad. All right, guys, that's all I got. Go enjoy the rest of your evening. Wait, I just realized it's crazy. I'm following this case in a town called Defiance and another super sad case in a town called Paradise on the same day. Is that the doctor one? I don't know where they come up with some of these names. There's a town, yes, Devin Michaels. There's a town in Nebraska named just for Bad Dazer. It is called Beaver Crossing. I've only been past the exit sign. I have never been there. But I can get you there. I can take you to the sign. I'm sure it's just a bustling metropolis of, 3 or 4 people. But you have to come to the States, Bad Dazer. So, all right, guys. I will see. Yes, it is called Beaver Crossing. I have a story about it one day. I'll tell. I'll tell when Gabby's here so she can hear it too. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Yay, beavers. I live right next to Beaver Creek. It's moist. Stop it. Stop it. That's it. I'm pulling the plug right now. It's over. Here comes the plane. It's going to land right.
Hot mannequin love is kinda uncanny. Click, like, subscribe, ooh, piece of candy. Looking for my spotlight, chasing my vibe. Still looking for my credibility online. Ooh, hot mannequin love, candy on the floor, don't pick it up. Chasing all the clicks, chasing all the views. Credibility's hiding, but I'm bringing you the news. Every little scroll is a mystery, but you stuck around, watch the show with me. Laughs and chaos, that's how we roll. Drop a comment down below before you go. Every little scroll is a mystery, but you stuck around, watch the show with me. Laughs and chaos, that's how we roll. Drop a comment down below before you go. Hot mannequin love, candy on the floor, don't pick it up. Looking for my credit, but I'll take